For countless millennia, one half of the moon has remained concealed from human observation, its far side locked in permanent shadow from Earth. But that mystery has now begun to unravel, long dismissed as imitations of the Apollo missions. China's changed lunar program has now fundamentally altered the narrative of space exploration. A Nobel Prize-winning physicist has emerged, not with vague theories, but with concrete evidence collected directly from the moon's hidden hemisphere. The initial findings are deeply unsettling. It's thought to be a passive remnant of Earth's early days. The moon now appears to harbor volatile geological phenomena, mysterious materials, and immense energy sources that could reshape the balance of global power. For decades, NASA grappled with bureaucratic red tape and set its focus on Mars. China quietly embarked on a more calculated and strategic mission. Through the Change program named after the Chinese moon goddess, they meticulously charted, landed on, and retrieved samples from a region previously untouched by any nation, the moon's far side, a place perpetually hidden from Earth and unreachable by direct radio communication. In 2019, with the Change for mission, China achieved a historic first by landing a rover on that elusive terrain. But this was more than a technical accomplishment. It was a clear declaration of ambition. With a relay satellite positioned at a stable gravitational point beyond the moon, China laid the groundwork for sustained exploration. And once the U-2 rover began transmitting data, its discovery sent tremors through the scientific world. One of the rover's earliest findings was an unusual, glossy, greenish, gel-like substance resting inside a lunar crater. Its visual properties defied expectations. It reflected light in an unnatural way and starkly contrasted with the surrounding gray dust and rock. Although experts initially labeled it as impact melt breccia, the real shock came from its appearance. It looked fresh, as though recently formed. This puzzled scientists, given that the moon's far side lacks radioactive materials that typically produce internal heat. It should be geologically dormant. So how could such a substance be newly formed? The mystery deepened when the U-2 rover later discovered transparent glassy spheres scattered across the surface. These were not shards or irregular fragments, but perfect orbs, some nearly an inch in diameter larger than any samples recovered. During the Apollo missions, even more curious was their pattern distribution, as if deliberately arranged or influenced by unknown forces. Their presence challenges prevailing theories of lunar impact physics. To produce such clear, sizable spheres would require levels of heat far greater than typical meteor strikes could generate. Some scientists proposed ancient volcanic activity, while others hinted at more obscure possibilities, such as hidden energy sources or buried systems beneath the moon's crust. What is becoming undeniable is that the far side of the moon is not a lifeless fossil, it is dynamic. It's potentially active, and possibly influenced by forces yet to be understood. And if nature isn't responsible for these anomalies, then what are? Who is? But the findings weren't limited to the moon's surface. China's lunar campaign specifically targeted the South Pole Aitken Basin, one of the largest impact craters in our solar system, formed billions of years ago by a massive asteroid. The basin's impact was so powerful that it likely fractured the moon's crust and exposed material from deep within its mantle. In 2024, the Change 6 mission returned samples from this region that overturned decades of geological assumptions. These included minerals like low-calcium pyroxene and olivine, evidence of the moon's interior layers. However, the chemical compositions were perplexing. The elemental ratios and isotopic structures didn't align with current models of lunar formation. This raised unsettling questions. Are our theories incorrect? Or has something fundamentally altered the moon's composition over time? Either scenario has profound implications, because if we misunderstood the moon's origins, our assumptions about Earth's own early development may be equally flawed. Among the materials recovered was a newly identified mineral now referred to as changite. Embedded within it was a rare isotope that has the potential to revolutionize global energy, helium-3, nearly non-existent on Earth.
How?
Helium-3 is abundant on the lunar surface and is widely considered the key to clean nuclear fusion energy. without radioactive waste. A single ton could theoretically power an entire nation for a year. The Change 5 mission confirmed helium-3's presence. Not as mere conjecture, but as quantifiable, extractable atoms. While harvesting it would demand vast infrastructure and the processing of enormous amounts of lunar soil regolith, China is already laying the groundwork. Their proposed International Lunar Research Station is projected to be operational before 2035. It is designed not just for research, but for industrial-scale resource extraction. This is no longer just a scientific endeavor, it's a race for energy supremacy, a geopolitical contest playing out on the moon itself. While Western agencies debate timelines and budgets, China builds with resolve. When the Change 6 samples were discreetly shared with a group of international researchers, one name stood out: Dr. Samuel Reiner, a Nobel laureate in physics and a leading authority in planetary geochemistry. After conducting weeks of confidential analysis, Reiner made an extraordinary decision. He broke protocol and delivered a startling revelation at a closed-door forum in Geneva. According to leaked transcripts, he stated, "If these mineral patterns are accurate, we are no longer observing a naturally evolving satellite. We are observing geological processes arranged with intent, not randomness." He explained that the crystalline structures in some samples mirrored engineered designs, similar to synthetic nanostructures used in Earth-based technologies like semiconductors and metamaterials. In essence, he implied that these materials may not be entirely natural. Coming from a scientist who once led research at CERN, Reiner's words sent shockwaves through the global scientific community. Because if elements of the moon's interior were artificially structured, this is no longer just geology. It could be evidence of design. One of the least publicized, but most revealing instruments aboard. Change 6 was a low-frequency ground, penetrating radar capable of scanning up to 100 meters beneath the lunar surface. The resulting data, quietly published in a Chinese academic journal, showed something that defied simple explanation. Subsurface layers were reflecting radar waves with striking precision, resembling polished surfaces rather than naturally irregular geological strata. Normally, radar signals scatter inconsistently in a natural body, but these readings showed alignment, symmetry, and consistency far too exact to be random. Some data even suggested the presence of cavities or voids, hollow areas with no known geological cause. Speculation erupted. Were these buried tunnels, ice chambers, or something even more inexplicable? Though official channels denied any anomalous findings, the raw data tells a different story. Analysts also noticed something more peculiar. Every 12 hours, a faint low-frequency signal would spike near these reflective zones. It was subtle, but consistent, repeating like a mechanical rhythm. As one anonymous Chinese scientist remarked, sometimes it's the predictability of something that makes it feel most unnatural. Surprisingly, despite these dramatic findings, major space agencies such as NASA, ESA, and JAXA have remained publicly silent. Since the Change samples returned, there have been no official briefings, no collaborative publications, and no acknowledgement of the anomalies, according to insiders. Internal NASA communications have advised researchers to avoid commenting on the UHL till new cooperation agreements are in place. In other words, don't speak, not yet, not until the West catches up. Meanwhile, China continues to publish selective data in tightly controlled state journals, restricts access to lunar samples, and advances its infrastructure with speed and secrecy. Dr. Reiner's warning has yet to be formally addressed by any Western authority, and that silence is leading many to believe that the implications of these discoveries are not only scientifically disruptive, but politically dangerous. We are no longer in an age of open discovery. We are in an age of lunar competition. China's accelerating presence on the moon indicates a broader agenda. If the far side harbors not just valuable resources, but unknown materials, possibly even artificial structures, then securing those regions becomes more than a mining operation. It becomes a matter of global dominance, technological, strategic, and perhaps even existential. And if anything beneath the moon's surface is unnatural or of intelligent origin, the implications are staggering. This isn't just about reaching the moon first. It's about who controls the narrative, what truths are shared, and what secrets are buried. For decades, humanity viewed the moon as a desolate relic, silent and inert. But perhaps that silence wasn't emptiness. Was concealment a veil drawn over something far more complex, possibly alien, or simply beyond our current understanding? China's missions didn't merely collect rock samples. They may have uncovered a truth many hoped would stay hidden. Dr. Reiner, one of the most respected minds in modern science, has defied convention to sound the alarm. Something beneath. The far side of the moon may not be natural land, may not be safe. Perfectly shaped glass spheres,